right. Yeah, looks like we got it back up.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see if that'll... Bloop, bloop.
Okay.
Although, what about the chat box?
Let's see.
Yeah, I tried to chat.
We had that issue yesterday, and then it seemed to kind of
Right.
resolve itself.
Yeah.
So I'm not real sure about it. It's kind of strange.
A little strange. So they're still doing this Petrov. He did play bishop e2 and castle, normal stuff. Let's see how the other Petrov went. Right, this time he played it more passively, knight d2. That's like how club players play it, yeah. So less theoretical, maybe more chance for a decisive result then. He didn't play c4. This should be more comfortable for black usually. He also seemed like he was ready for some unusual line because he, in 30 seconds, played this after knight d2, which is not the most common move. So he, well, one difference is he doesn't have knight c6 out yet. So I don't really know how that plays in. Really. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some internet issues, but we're back. We don't know why. Hey, Bishop Takes, how's it going?
Yeah, I don't know what to do about the chat though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Why don't you try to click on the eyeball?
Like that?
Yeah, and then yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, Fallujah thought for 8 minutes on rook e1. So I don't know why. I mean, it seems like this is a pretty normal position. But maybe he didn't know, you know, to omit knight c6 how to play then. Or maybe he did. He's just remembering his prep. I mean, 8 minutes seems like a long time if you're still in prep. Because he also thought about it, knight d2 for 3 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going, the Master John?
Hey, Master John, how's it
Good
going?
to see you.
I don't know how to fix the chat.
All right, we saw this. He played b6 instead of dc. Which b6 is even the most common move according to the chess.com opening book. Yeah, they played all this. b3 is pretty rare, relatively, but I don't know, this position, is it so common? Well, 600 games, some games. Not very common, but still 600, you know. Is this really how the game went? They did all this? Yeah, they did. Quickly, too. I mean, this might still be their prep. Probably. I mean, they wouldn't be playing this fast otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
He thought for a little while on rook c1. He thought for three or 4 minutes on that one. It's a move. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't in theory here. Because even Ding thought for 2.5 minutes on b6. Like, they might just be freestyling. And just figuring the positions like pretty calm so that they don't have to think for a very long time.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know, anything's possible. Because this isn't really a theory, you know, it's a BOGO Indian and they're playing kind of weird. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we went Ben too, so too bad.
Right. Yeah. So, here, let's see, what did Fabi do? Something crazy, huh? G4, wow. I don't know about that one.
That seems weird.
Seven.
To my lower rated eyes.
7 games with G4 out of 7,000.
I mean, I never would have guessed that move in a million years.
Well, G4 is kind of a normal, you know, Sicilian move. But...
Oh, I guess so. I guess if you're going to castle queen side, maybe.
Yeah, when your opponent has, like, E6 so early, you know, you're assuming they're going to play D5 and open up the center, but... Maybe there's some, like this, for example.
I just thought that usually came later, but I don't play
Right.
the Sicilian.
But yeah, White's
Pushing
ahead
the
in
pawns.
development. They can get out both their bishops, and they have 2 knights out. This bishop can't get out; only has 1 knight out.
That's true.
So White is ahead in development. So, playing an aggressive move is not necessarily uncalled for, because it's not like Black's gonna punish the move too hard.
That's true. They don't have anything to do that with. Hey, but
Yeah.
go Fabi. Ben's on jury duty.
Yeah, good
Is
old
happy.
jury duty.
Hey, Squang.
He could even just play it positionally, play bishop g2 and castle. It's not so crazy to play it like that. Play like h3, f4, bishop e3, etc.
Well, it feels like we're going to have some decisive games today.
Yeah, I mean, Fabi's got to be the favorite in this game. Rapport's playing a weird opening. Fabi thought for 10.5 minutes and played g4, by the way.
So he knows what's going on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean,
10-minute thing.
it's kind of weird to think that long on a move. It's just the opening here. But
I thought it was unusual, but you're saying it's not. I thought that usually you push the pawns, but like you're saying, they were ahead in development.
I mean, g4 was played 7 times out of 7,000, so it's pretty unusual in this position.
Yeah.
And he thought for 10.5 minutes. I don't know. Engine likes White.
I believe in you, Fabi.
Yeah. Hard to tell what's going on here, right? A 10.5 minute think. On
Matt
that one.
Larson.
All prep. Yeah, he thought for 10 minutes and played his prep. Weird. And these guys are still here. How about the Petrovs?
Why, thank you, GM Benjamin Funko.
Yeah, just no problem for Farouche, or for, Duda. Farouche is trying to not, play in a non-theoretical way so he can just start playing chess, but Petrov is so solid. It's like, Black has no problems here at all now. Yeah, it's too solid. Yeah, I guess he was just deciding if he wanted to do it, but, I mean, for 10.5 minutes? I mean, maybe for 2 minutes. Like, you don't have to psych yourself up for that long, dude. I mean, maybe. All right, this is more complicated, but it's more theoretical here. This is still theory. This is the line I was talking about when they play knight c3 and then a3. He could have played a3 first. I don't really know the details there, but yeah, I've seen this a million times. Yeah, there are a ton of games like with c takes, queen takes. Right. Yeah, rook e1's a move too. Maybe they could also play c takes later, I guess. Like this, yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of games. Like Kramnik would have Black here all the time, like in the 90s and early 2000s. This was like pretty popular. Bishop f4. Right, yeah, and then this. Rook ac8. I've even prepared this line once. I don't think I ever got it though. There's a lot of theory. So yeah, it's well trodden path for this Petrov, but not this one. This one they're just on their own, and well, maybe Duda's not. Yeah, he's thinking for 40 seconds every move. And 30 seconds. This could even still be his prep, even though it's very timid play by White. But nowadays they prepare everything, Yeah. That is a lot like chess.
Yeah, hopefully Ben won't be needed and they'll dismiss him early.
Right. Right. All right, so they're all going to start thinking now because they're all out of theory. Except, I don't know what Fabi's up to. I have no idea what Fabi's up to at this point. Whether he's in theory or not.
Interesting.
Seems like he should be, but he's not playing like he is. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, a 10-minute thing seems like he...
Right, that's right.
he went off book or off what he had planned.
You would think so, but why would he do that? You know? Well, if they think for 10 minutes, they're probably out of theory, you know? Like when low-rated players play, you never know because they have such bad form. They just play quickly all the time and think at random points. But when strong players play, they play instantly when it's their prep. Then they think for, 15 minutes. Then you know they're out of theory. You know?
Hey, BG Yoshi.
Yoshi.
Wish the dogs would shut up.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
I had to go up there and chastise them.
Right. And they're never going to move now.
Spencer is a good chess teacher. JCS.
That is true, the one and only Paul. He can't get anything past you. Sherlock reincarnated. Sherlock is a good chess player, too, so.
Yeah, we know the chat's missing. Maybe we could take
try
a
to do it.
slight
What do we
moment.
do? Yeah.
So what I would say is briefly...
Why don't you just drive and do whatever you think
I'm just
is
going to
right.
click on a different scene for a moment.
Okay.
So it's going to be messed up for 1 second.
Right.
Let's look
Like
here,
that.
for example. So it's not working there either.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't...
Right.
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to let it not be
Right,
here.
well,
I
it
know
should
it
work.
looks
It's
weird.
everything is fine
Sometimes
there.
Twitch glitches.
Yeah.
And
How's it going trying to learn?
at this point, we'd have to remove it and add it, and it's like a bit of trouble. I don't really want to do it.
Yeah.
Because we have to get stream elements open. And
Well, what if like this, I just copied this URL and then deleted the source and then added it and pasted the URL?
we could try that,
Yeah.
unless I don't know why the URL would have changed. But yeah, that's a
Well,
good
if it
idea.
did, then it doesn't matter if I
That's
delete
true.
it.
Because either way, it's not working.
Yeah, so let's try it.
But can you look before you delete it and see what the dimensions are?
Okay. 800, 600.
No, I just meant.
Oh.
All right, click cancel,
Yeah.
and then unlock it. Okay, so it's about right there. All right, so yeah, you can just.
Yeah, let's try it out.
Sure.
I know what it is. It's a browser. Oh, we'll type chat again just for us. Okay. Let's try that.
Okay, just move it and just drag it.
Yeah, it won't let me. Oh, yeah, see? Oh, yeah, see? Look at that. We did it.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Okay,
and then
there we
I think
go.
you have to resize from the top. Okay.
All right, but I have to do control, right?
Yeah,
Oh, no, wait. Maybe it's alt?
it's all. Oh, I'm sorry. It's all.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Look at that. We're crushing it. Maybe like here.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. All right, that did work.
LOL.
Yay.
Yeah, it's funny when I make things work. LMAO. You can even move it around a little bit more. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. Occasionally that happens where the chat
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Well, OBS isn't great, but I am, so we made it work. See this? Oh, he did play E3 after 14 and a half minutes thought. So definitely out of theory then, unless it's Fabi then.
Wait, go back. Let me see the last few moves. I forgot where we were in this game.
All right, he played like B6
Okay,
here.
that's right. Oh yeah, I know. I remember.
Yeah. How's it going? Oh no. Yeah. That is true already. That is true.
You think you've seen this line on Chessable or a similar one?
That's possible. That's possible.
We're doing well, I know.
I guess for white, I don't know, maybe black would play this. Oh, the engine doesn't hate it, but it seems like, I don't really like the bishop here, but maybe you just move it back later. It doesn't matter too much. Because the position is so quiet. Yeah, no, if Ding wants to win and doesn't want a lot of risk, this is a pretty good choice. Keeps all the pieces on the board. Like, still a pretty solid position, and who knows, when he makes some pawn breaks, probably this one, maybe even this one. Who knows when these pawn breaks happen? What's the deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You finally left. So are you gonna be here? Is that what it is?
Who's he talking about left?
I don't know. All right, well, he can't even hear us anyway. So
I think he's talking about somebody there.
He is
singing my praises.
Always sing LOL. I was talking to some guy.
Some guy. Okay, finally left. All right.
Okay.
I didn't see that original comment.
Okay. So, anyways, this game might get interesting, but probably going to be kind of boring. This is going to be interesting, guaranteed.
Yeah, that one's definitely.
Here he played a same-ish move. So, Nepo thought for almost 10 minutes and played the most common move. By the way, Rookie 1's the most common move, too. I mean, everything Hikaru did was the main line, the old main line of the Petrov. And still he's thinking for... I don't know what these guys are up to. They're thinking for 10 minutes when they're still in theory. I mean, I guarantee you Nepo knows this position. And only now is there an unusual move, really. Rook A2.
Yeah, I thought that seemed weird.
Right. It's been played 7 times out of 170 games on chess.com's opening book. But, yeah, it's an idea that you see in the same mission Nimzo Indian to bring the rook over. But I've never seen it in that position, that particular position here.
Yeah. Also, if he wants to get on the B file, he can't easily do it without lifting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that's what he wants to do. I'm just saying.
Right. You mean he can't play there?
He can, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So now he could go rook B2.
That's true. Yeah, pretty standard Petrov position. Is that true, BK? How's it going, Arjawa? The real stars of the show. That's us.
How's it going, Arjawa?
So, yeah, now Nepo really will think, since thought for a while on this move that he probably was ready before the game with. But now after Rook A2, probably didn't expect that move. Can't expect every move, and that one is quite unusual and uncommon. However, the other Petrov, boring. Yeah, right, like I said, White's doing nothing. Yeah, I get this kind of position with Black when I play like lower rated players, and I have a Petrov. Just very easy to play. Even kind of have a better bishop. So, Black has really no problems. Although the engine likes White a little bit. Well, maybe he can keep pressing. I don't know. Seems like shouldn't be a problem for Black. Maybe he'll do this and this. Put the pawns on light squares,
Mm-hmm.
And if he take, he could play d5. You might just hold steady with Black in the center. Then he could even consider to push and break here if he can get that break in. So, that's, probably something like that might happen, or nothing will happen. That's also possible. And they'll just sit tight, Mm-hmm.
I know what Ben's talking about with 31%.
Yeah, oh yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, still don't know.
His phone battery?
Oh.
That might be it. I didn't know what he was talking about. This? Still, okay, so these are the two Petrovs of the day. This one is more theoretical except for right now. And then this one was super boring. But probably both draw. Although the engine likes White here more than this. It says this is 0.00. Where this is 0.3. I couldn't imagine white really being better here. This move seemed a little creative. But still, I mean, dude hasn't thought at all. He hasn't thought. He thought for his longest think was 1 minute and 6 seconds. Everything else is 30 seconds or 40 seconds or less. So he's still just banging out moves. You could tell he has 100 or an hour and 57:45. I mean, he's got a lot of time. He's got a lot of time. So, yeah. Right, neither game is Stafford. Who would have thought? All right, so he's, again, doing nothing instead of something after 9 minutes of thought. I mean, Ferruccia's thinking for a long time on every move, almost. Well, he has plenty of time. So, but yeah, he was trying to play non-theoretical and just get some, like, kind of boring position you can keep playing. But I don't think dude is too unhappy with this with black. He's probably pretty happy. Yeah, they'll never move.
Hey, trying to learn, how's it going?
We already saw he played e3, and then finally Fabi moved after 17 minutes of thought. He played knight b3. Positional move. And avoiding the trade, because he played knight here, so he might trade and replace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was Taimanov's original idea when he started playing the Taimanov. Is he would always play knight ge7 and trade knights and replace it. But top players nowadays don't do that. Also, no, I don't think anybody ever did that but him. Even when they play the Taimanov, they'll just play like queen c7, knight f6, you know, in a normal main line. Of course, he didn't play knight f6 here because that would run into g4, g5. He already played g4, you know. Wouldn't walk right into it. But let's see, are there games here? There's one game in the database, and in the chess.com opening book, and black played knight a5, which the engine agrees is the move. Although it also liked some other ideas too, but it likes knight a5. But eventually Rapport is going to think for like a good while. This might be it. He's thought for 3 minutes already in 1 minute, so he could be on his own with g4. You know, after g4, he could be on his own, but maybe not, because he did play pretty quickly. I don't know, were there some topical games with g4? Because, well, by transposition, there are 109 games instead of 7. So there probably are some games in this position.
Mm-hmm. Why is the notation in a different color starting on move
These
6?
are the book moves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why if they're bronze or orange or whatever. Yeah, they're book moves.
Okay.
They're never moving here. All right, he played knight b3 after 17 minutes. There and there. Okay, we'll stay on this game. This is the most exciting game. But I think Rapport could, at any point, take a deep think. Knight a5 is the engine move. I'd probably play knight g6. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Control all these dark squares with my knights.
All right.
Because you put all your pawns on white squares. And get out my bishop and so on. Go Fabi, but stay there. Agreed. Yeah, it's kind of sort of normal Sicilian stuff, you know, as far as the pawn structure is concerned. Yeah. Who decides the book? That's a good question. Popular opinion, I guess. Good old book. I like how the internet's more solid now. Do you notice?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
I don't want to jinx it.
I know.
I don't really believe in any of that. So. Oh yeah, old white men probably.
So
they're in charge of everything.
So you said knight a5 is the engine move.
Well, it changed its mind by now.
Oh, okay.
It wants to go here. But in the
There's
one game
very
that's been played,
similar.
it was here.
It was very similar.
I don't know. I mean,
I would think that's a weird move to make, but it seems like
well,
it's
he
result
did.
in a trade.
He avoided the trade though, so apparently white doesn't want to trade.
Right, that's true.
But yeah, also he wants to develop his pieces.
That's what I was thinking more, that would be the more normal moves.
Well, yeah, but
Bishop B7.
it wants to play knight c6. It's like I have too many knights. You know, it's like the famous movie Too Many Grandmas. Hurry, Grandma! Grandma's gaining on us. So yeah, they want to trade it and then replace it. And then because white has more space on the center and king side, although black has more space on the queen side.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, white's going to get even maybe more space, right? And then here, white usually does all that stuff in a Sicilian middle game.
Okay.
So you'd expect him to advance, you know.
So then black is just going to attack on the queen side? Or?
Right, well, black's got a couple options. Like, black could challenge white on the king side. Although, yeah, like you said, you know, his domain's mostly on the queen side. But also d5, right? If he can get in d5, then g4 might look incorrect. Even if he gets, like, an isolated pawn with d5, which in this case he would, right? He would get an isolated pawn, guaranteed. And that's another reason to play here, is that now d5 will always guarantee an isolated pawn for black. Also, d5 is just not going to be good now because I have 3 pieces out and easily a 4th. Then you've got 2, and it's going to take you extra time to get this out.
Mm-hmm.
So opening up the position, I mean, maybe, but it seems risky when you're so far behind in development.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's taking a nap at the, you know, what do you call the place the jury sits? Oh, he did play knight a5. Look at that. So what do you think? Knight d4, knight a c6 draw?
No.
Right, yeah, you're right, though, General Beefheart. You don't want your jurors to be too smart, you know? You want to be able to manipulate them a bit.
So do I think he's going to continue on the king side or do something with the knight? I don't know. What's your opinion?
He's not going to move the knight again.
So he'll
just let you do
ignore
it.
You know? Yeah.
The engine moves to h4. It says white's much better there. It didn't suggest that earlier when it wanted knight a5. It didn't say white would play h4. But now that we're in the position, it wants h4. It says white's 0.7. That's a pretty high evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
Still, for a position this sharp, it might not be, you know, decisive, really. It's just, when the position's so sharp, you know, the evaluation needs to be really high to be decisive.
Right.
Otherwise, who knows what's going to happen.
Maybe we should put it in the subject that he said jury duty.
I mean, it says join Karen and Spencer. So
That's true.
if you're coming here for another person, it's like...
No, it's just everybody wants to know where he is.
That's true.
Which I don't blame them.
That's right, Squang. That's right. Let's see, our Petrovs don't move. Okay, he played here. Who cares? We all could have seen that coming. And then, a move was played here. After 16 minutes thought, the longest think of this game, and perhaps the round. I don't remember. C5 was played. Like I said, this is going to get complicated now. So for the next 4 or 5 moves, they're going to be pretty critical with all this tension.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is Karen's least favorite.
I was just thinking, it gave me stress thinking about, because when there's a face-off with all the pawns, I never make the correct decision.
Well, anyways, you don't have to be too worried with either color here. Like you'll never have a bad pawn structure. Let's say black's afraid of having a bad pawn structure. Takes, knight takes. Takes, any piece takes. It's just symmetrical.
Right, okay, yeah.
And the same for white. Like if he plays DC, knight takes. Or CD, knight takes. Or even DC, rook takes. No, wait. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, to avoid any isolated pawns or anything.
Right, yeah, exactly. Now, black could do stuff like take the knight and then take here, but that would at least give up the bishop pair. Plus, you could maybe play knight takes to not even... And then also that's pinned. So bishop takes is not really too scary right now.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, because could get a bad structure somehow. I mean, the worst is like if you take here with your piece and then have to take here with a pawn. That's the worst, and you just have 2 isolated pawns.
Right, yeah, that would be terrible.
But even something like having to capture this way and having hanging pawns wouldn't be the end of the world usually. But you could be worse. Especially if pieces start getting traded. Rapport, I mean, doesn't really have the most chance to win. But anybody really could win except Radjabov. You know? Anybody else really could win. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're second or third. Well, actually, second does matter because Magnus might not play. But generally, it doesn't matter if you're second or third in this tournament. It's the same as being in eighth.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but Rapport can definitely get hot, and he's like a confident player, you know. So if he starts to win, the sky's the limit. But yeah, I mean, obviously Fabi and Nepo were pre-tournament favorites, and they're like in first and tied for second, so they're still the favorites.
Yeah, Ding could win.
Yeah, if you're not first, you're last. Classic Ricky Bobby.
I don't feel like he's been playing like he's on fire though.
Rapport?
Oh no, Ding.
Oh, Ding. No, yeah, Ding's been a little
tepid.
timid. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Tepid and timid.
Yeah. Well, but here he's clearly trying to win with black. All right, CD. Just pretty quickly, I mean. Well, 4 minutes, but still, it's a big decision. The engine hates it, by the way. The only move for advantage was A3, apparently. It might not be true, but that's what the engine thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was taken, because of course. And then here. Yeah. I guess, I mean, I would like white there. I got the bishop pair. And like I said, there's no structural damage. Oh, this is hanging, though. That's the idea. That was Ding's idea. Because now you have to play e-takes, which is a little worse. Because you're blocking this.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Ding is smart. This is fine. I mean, eventually he'll play DC once his bishop's not hanging. And then after BC, you'll have a hanging pawns where... Well, you usually wouldn't fianchetto your king bishop in that structure. Your bishop would be here. Which would be more active. Still, it likes white here. I mean, it's 2 bishops. So, is that really worth it? I don't know. But instead, he played this. This is, like, pretty solid. Like we said, you just take with a piece. You won't have a problem. Taking here could have a problem. Blocks the bishop, and it's a bad pawn. It's like a backward pawn, you know. It can't be defended by a friendly pawn. So, he takes with a piece. And he doesn't want to be pinned, like with knight takes. Also, he wants to control e4. So, you can't play e4. You played knight takes, you could play e4 potentially. But now there's no e4. Unless you're doing some chicanery, but...
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Seems like, yeah. Betting odds against Nepo? That's not, you mean for Nepo, right? Right, because there's no way betting against Nepo you get the odds, right? He's only one person out of 8. Yeah. Odds on Nepo, right. Yeah, that's crazy. Those are terrible. I mean, those are good odds. Like, I would take those odds, right?
I didn't even see the comment.
It's like 15-1 or 20-1. And that makes no sense at all because there's 8 people in the tournament, and he won last year, and he's 15-1. Wow, if I had known about that, I would have put a couple bucks down.
Yeah.
But the odds are made by like popular opinion, you know, not really like facts. Like, because you just want the split to be even if you're the bookie, right? So it doesn't. You know, they try to make the line where they think people will bet on both sides evenly. Yeah. This tournament does have a 6th round. Also, what?
Hey, Grungewort, how's it going? Thank you for the 200 bits. Still not hearing
Grungewort.
the action.
Dang, we did hear it that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, a couple moves here where we saw this, boring. And then he is doing this. Just like I thought. And then C4 is the engine move and the normal move because he played B3. Dang, dude is playing super fast. There's no way he's in theory here. There's just no way. This is not a theoretical position. They're just playing kind of randomly. But he's so confident in how solid his position is. Agreed. The engine still likes white a touch, but I don't know. It seems like it shouldn't be a problem. Will these guys ever move? He did make a move. Always play bishop f8 after 17 minutes of thought. Nepo's longest think of the game so far. And always play bishop f8, so I don't know what are you thinking about? Just play that, JK, but yeah, that is a good move. It's still 0.00. The engine likes both of these moves. Probably even other moves are fine, right? I'm trying to think what black is going to come up with here. I don't think he ever really wants to play DC. So in that case, white doesn't really need to play c takes d. Could if you want, but what's the point? Even queen takes even attacks the rook, so I don't think that's white's idea. He could try, like you said, rook b2, but then his pawn is hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Although
true.
even that's complicated because this pawn's hanging. But
Right.
anyways, my point is he could play this, and then rook b2.
Yeah, I was looking at that move
Yeah,
to block it up a little bit over there.
he might do that. I mean, that's a controversial move, of course. Releasing pressure here, and also b6 at some point might be unsightly because you might have to take and then a takes, and then your a pawn's even weaker.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to consider b6 pawn break in that case. Bishop f8. It's a pretty normal move. Hikaru hasn't moved yet. There is a game here. White played a4, one game in the chess.com opening book. a4 seems pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
But will Hikaru think for forever, like normal? Or is he still going to play a move quickly? He hasn't yet moved. So he's probably in for a little bit, yeah. He's already... He thought for 8 minutes on knight c3 here, which is just a book move. Maybe he was thinking I could play some line with a3 instead. But he decided to just go into the classical main line here. I'm not really too familiar with the move order differences there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did play c4 in the other Petrov. 2 Petrovs, one for each, yeah. They played some moves here. Oh, just queen e2. Yeah, we saw this. So Radjabov played the most solid way with white, shockingly. And it's just 0.00. Yeah, I mean, black has absolutely no problems here at all. You'll never even worry about a3 anymore. I could just play c takes d. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm. Hey, when you have a lull, I want to update the title to the stream.
Oh, sure, yeah, let's
Just
do
put
it.
that
To it.
he's been in jury duty.
It's this one,
Mm-hmm.
and then where do you want to put it? Maybe after
Put
for
in
round
parentheses after your name.
5. Okay.
In parentheses, been.
Like that?
Well, on jury duty.
Oh. Boop.
Yep, perfect.
There it is.
Got it.
11 years. Thank you for subscribing. At tier 1. Duda had a game in this position. I don't know. You mean this one? That might be why he's playing instantly. But then why is Firouzja thinking forever on every move? See? Yeah, I mean, maybe he did have this position, but he could have had a different position. So, 12 Angry Men was good. That's alright.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
They showed it at Archer's school this past school year.
Oh, yeah?
I think they watched the video. Or maybe they read the book together. Maybe that was it. What?
Judge, jury, could you please render your verdict? Ben, the answer is fries.
Yep, you're all guilty.
All right, good old Petrov's. Radjabov trying to play even more boring than the two Petrov games. And then here's a move, knight a5, like we had saw. But then he goes queen d2. So he's just going to castle queenside quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to start...
Pushing the pawns.
Yeah, doing something, I guess this.
Whatever happened to h4?
Put it in h. Yeah, that was the engine move, but it's not necessarily the best move. It lowers the evaluation a bit there.
Mm-hmm. True.
Bishop b7. No, I mean, it seems like kind of normal. I mean, I wouldn't expect knight a5, but it seems like you can still play like normal.
Mm-hmm.
Even try to play d5 at some point. Knight c4, yeah. Queen d2. Yeah, I mean, queen d2 is alright. Both sides thinking now. Rapport for about 6 minutes and this one for over 5 minutes. So they're definitely on their own. Even Fabi. I mean, actually, I don't really know what Fabi's up to. But probably on his own. Yeah. White literally doesn't care about doubled pawns. You mean this? No. Now here, still won't move. Yeah, this is the most exciting game. Oh, he played bishop f6 in a position he may have had according to the chat. But probably not. How's it going, bimbo? Exclam Spencer, that's me.
Bimbo.
First time chat. Alright, you can just figuratively don't care, that's fine. It's called the Constitution, Kingpin. It's called the Constitution. I don't know, Stockfish half was pretty good. I mean, if it ever existed. Which it didn't. Do you think they'll ever move? Probably never again, right? The game will end here because none of the players will ever move. The whole round, the tournament will end, you know? And then Nepo wins. Dang, if only I bet on that site. That's true, Nils.
Yeah, the jury system's practiced in, similarly
Yeah.
in many countries.
Good old jury. Well, anyways, if I had black, you know, I might not take because I might play knight c4. So I kind of want white to worry about that.
Right, yeah.
So I move my knight somewhere. Or bishop or d5. But d5 has the same problem we mentioned earlier, you know, opening up the position. Actually, it's even worse now because the queen is overworked.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Well, that might be okay because we can trade here at the end. But anyways, I wouldn't want to play d5 and ruin the structure and open the position for white, who has more pieces developed.
Will black ever castle?
Yeah, it'll take a few moves, you know.
But you think they're going to still castle kingside?
Probably.
Even with those pawns coming?
It's only one pawn.
So far.
I mean, he played here, but you think he's going to castle queenside, don't you?
No.
Well, should play more Sicilians, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about white? I thought you were talking about black.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously white is.
Well, but he played here. I mean, aren't you afraid of that pawn?
Well, because the C pawn's gone now, it seems.
Oh, so he's got a half open file.
A little, yeah. I still think there's going to be an obvious queenside for white. I'm just not sure about black.
Yeah, I mean, black could stay in the center, but he's probably going to castle kingside later. And white's probably going to castle queenside, but could also stay in the center. It's a Sicilian, so anything could happen, you know, like right away, and then you don't have time to castle.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go Schliemann. But, you know, it's named after Schliemann, but I think that... Or maybe actually this was Janisch, or Janisch. One of them, like, it's named after, like, both of them, but one of them didn't play it. It's just accidentally named after them.
Uh-oh. Getting some buffering. Yeah, and I'm going to be so frustrated if we lose our stream again.
Yeah, let's see if I hit this. Oh, it's still working here,
Still
though.
going.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Maybe
it's
it just needs a refresh, yeah.
on this computer. All right.
Will Ben be back before time control? Probably not, I suppose.
If he gets dismissed,
Right, he could be.
they could reject him,
Yeah.
as I was once rejected from jury duty.
Dang.
That would be the best thing, is if they don't want him.
Right. So will anybody move? No. Not really. The engine didn't really love bishop f6, by the way. It says that after c5, white has a pretty serious advantage. And what would you do after c5? Because this move hangs a pawn. But, yeah. Yeah, this move hangs a pawn. Maybe you'll still do that. Because then d5's... I think he will do that. It'll be here. He'll sack a pawn.
Yeah.
You know, maybe trade rooks. I don't know. But then he'll play knight d5 at the end. I don't know if he'll trade rooks or not. The engine does, so we'll do it. Oh, it wants knight e6. I thought I was going to go here. You know, that's a pretty good square. But this pawn's weak, so it's just targeting the pawn. Basically, you lost your pawn, but these pawns on dark squares are pretty bad. White has to just defend it or lose it. Also, this is a threat because it's pinned. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's defended. But if you move your knight like here, then it will be. So you'll have to... Well, you could, you know, play some move. But yeah, you've got to be kind of solid and defend. And this is your extra pawn. I mean, if you never play here, you won't notice it.
Seems like they'd go rook d1, maybe.
Yeah, that's a move.
And that way you're not on that same diagonal with that bishop.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Oh, yeah, because this is a pin too, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's double pin. So, yeah, they would play rook d1, definitely. You're right. And then get out of the pins. And then, you know, comp for a pawn. Like, it's, if you never go here, you're not going to be feeling your extra pawn, are you? If I just do this. Still a strange decision to just give up the pawn and play that position. But he thought for a while. He thought for about 4 minutes. It seems like he's pretty confident it's okay. I mean, he could also play this, but it doesn't seem right. You can't really go here because then that traps your knight on the side of the board there. So, yeah, I think the game will go like this. And the engine evaluation's dropping now. It's only 0.4, where it was, you know, close to like 3/4 of pawn or something. So it's dropping. It sees there's compensation here now. Interesting. And Farouche is like, yeah, I could do this, but maybe not, right? Maybe keep the tension first and keep this as an idea,
right,
where I can win a pawn, but in a better way, you know, somehow. So still some tension here. Yeah. Yeah, always plead out. Yeah.
Yeah, he could get dismissed quickly.
You mean in like round 2 or 3, Kingpin? I think it was round 2, right? Well, Fabi could have been winning by sacking the exchange and playing that crazy way, but he. I remember it was Rook B7 was a lot of counterplay, and he had to play this D5 Queen D6 line. So he didn't see all that, and instead, like they found a repetition. So, yeah, that's what happened. And if you see that, you can play on, but otherwise, they didn't want to. After Bishop F8, he still isn't moving, so Hikaru's officially out of his preparation now. It's official. He did trade the things. After thinking for 17 and a half minutes, Black traded knights, which the engine hates it. And then Bishop B7, the only move. Yeah. Well, basically, here, I mean, the pawn is hanging, but you want to play Bishop B7 anyway. But, yeah, you helped out White's rook a lot. Even still, you know, assuming he'll castle queenside. He might castle kingside now. Look, he's playing Bishop G2.
Right, I was wondering that. Maybe he changes his tune.
Bishop G2 engine says it's okay. Although it wanted F3, but never do that, so he didn't. He'd like to play F4 if he, you know, has the opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
a little more ambitious there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who would rather play Mag? They both really want to play him so they can get $1 million. That's all. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, look, we got this Vegas Chess Festival thing still going.
Nice.
I gotta remove that.
You're banned, Kingpin. Yeah, now the engine doesn't like Bishop G2 after thinking longer. Let's see what it wanted. F3. Is this so bad, though, for Black? Right, D5, yeah. Exactly, right? I got everything ready for D5.
Mm-hmm.
Have to castle. So here it is. The only move here for White is Queen F2. I mean, for an advantage. Otherwise, it's 0.0. But it's kind of a normal move, right? Hit the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Get on the battery. Even here, it wants to play King B1. Instead of something like this, for example, where now Black is better. So yeah, it's not obvious that F3 would provide an advantage. You let him play D5 and even let him play DE, and you don't win anything, but... Like here, just always play King B1, because I always play that, you know. That's pretty funny. What if here, just wondering. Boom shakalaka. I couldn't boom shakalaka last turn? Oh, not... Oh, yeah, it is here. Okay, because this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's why King B1. Yeah, clearly. And then if you ignore me, like I did, here, there. Now, if you move your queen, this is too nasty. So the engine goes here and there. Well, you could just go back, right? Just gave up a rook to not deal with knight d6 check with discovered horror afterwards.
Right,
Yeah. Also, this is an idea too now. Bishop b6, rook d8. But knight d5. I mean, it says white's winning because you have to give up your rook. Still, even this is complicated. It's not dead winning. Just probably winning. You know? Not a dead win there. So... yeah, this is just a really complicated line that they were both considering to play d5 for Black. So he played here. This dissuades d5 by controlling it more. You know, a fourth time.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you play d5, you have to get an isolated pawn. Yeah, that's the cost.
Right, okay, I see.
Yeah, always go to sleep. Agreed. So then after Bishop G2, which was played, Knight G6 was played. So this is the game position right now. Getting in on these dark squares. I mean, knight h4 is kind of annoying. You know, you could castle, knight h4, bishop h1. Still, h5 seems like they've got some initiative. But there's bishop g5 there. How about bishop e7's okay to defend the knight.
Right.
So, yeah. Wow, the engine move is rook f1. I don't think he's going to play that. Rook f1, huh? Just knight h4, then bishop h1, right? And plus it wants to play f4, f5. He could play rook f1. I don't think he will. That would be crazy. You know, can you imagine that?
Well, how would he avoid the knight attacking the bishop? Like if he doesn't make room for it to move back.
He could castle and then move his bishop
Okay, yeah.
to avoid the fork.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. This is a problem. Yeah, this is a problem. So he has to do something about it. Rook f1 is just one move. h4 does not stop knight h4. I'll still play it. If you go here, I'll take this with check, so I'm not afraid of that. If you sacrifice and go there, your g-pawn's hanging. So that's probably okay. So yeah, h4 is not going to work, probably. Yeah, rook h1 would look, or rook f1, it would be like a DGT error, like white castled, but accidentally just went here on the board, you know? Yeah. That's a good question. Will Ben do recaps?
Yeah, actually, he and I talked about that. He is going to do the recaps when he gets back. So that makes it easier for us. We'll be done quicker.
Right. That's right.
So they might come out slightly later, but he's going to do the recaps.
All right, Hikaru thought for 27 and a half minutes and played c takes d, which I was saying that wasn't a smart move probably. And Jan quickly, after just a minute's thought, played queen takes, hitting the rook.
And that was what you talked about that before.
Yeah, exactly.
It would hit the rook if he did that.
So yeah, it's kind of weird to play rook a2 in cd, but Hikaru calculated forever and thought it was right for tactical reasons. He could play c4. He could play rook b2.
And then the pawn's hanging, though.
Right, the a
on
pawn.
a3.
Well, okay, but the b pawn's hanging, but also rook b5 attacks everything.
That's true.
This just wins a piece because you got a queen and two bishops hanging. So yeah, both moves the engine says is okay. He likes rook b2 more now. And they're both normal moves, huh?
Yeah, that seems normal. I even spotted it.
I mean, I might play c4, queen d6, bishop e3 simply. Like sort of a solid setup.
Hey, Grandmaster Gus.
We got a lot of space, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, black structure's obviously better. So Hikaru probably has one of these moves ready, but he can keep thinking about it just to make sure. So he probably will think about it for a minute, you know. And then so Furusha didn't believe it. He didn't want to do this and win the pawn. You know, we looked at this position. He probably thought he couldn't be better here. Rook d1, as you suggested, is the move. And then yeah, like this is what I wanted to do. Yeah, engine likes white, but it might be wrong. I mean, if you can't do anything,
right,
or if you can't even go here, you know, how can you possibly be better? Your extra pawn is meaningless. So he didn't agree with the engine there, and he just centralized. Now he might do this, like I said, and then he'll have an extra rook here to play d5 at a timely moment.
Definitely.
And anyways, it's just nice to centralize. I mean, hard to be more centralized than this. Maybe if the knight was there. But okay. He could even do that. So solid. So yeah, super boring, but something could happen. Nock is giving an interview and playing the game. Wow. Crazy stuff. Oh, a thing happened. Ding thought for 15.5 minutes and played c takes d4, the normal move. Again, this is preventing a3 as we talked about.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, now the position's too boring. Ding is unhappy that he didn't get to create any chances. Like, already. It's only move 13, they could keep going, but he wishes it was a little bit more asymmetrical already. It's pretty symmetrical. Pretty symmetrical stuff.
So which way will white take back, I guess, with either the bishop or the pawn?
You mispronounced bishop or knight.
Or not? Well, I guess
Would never
with the
do
pawn.
this.
Well, that was kind of my question because.
Isolated pawn. He blocked this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Very anti-positional. Yeah. These are the only two ways to consider.
Okay.
Also, you could play a different forcing move.
Oh, push the pawn.
Yeah. But the engine likes bishop takes the most. And it says here, there, equal. It just does nothing. Yeah. It's like almost a completely symmetrical position, but the bishop is here instead of there. If you play g6, bishop g7, it's this entirely symmetrical position. Pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff.
Darn. So it's headed towards a draw, or is it too early to say?
Both. Yeah. It's early, but probably it's already looking that way. But who knows? They could do some tricky stuff. But yeah, these guys aren't too tricky. They're pretty straightforward players. Wow, he did play rook f1. Crazy. What a move. Best move.
Yeah.
Then knight can be met with bishop h4 or bishop h1, and he wants to play f4, f5 anyway.
Right.
So the rook is nicely placed there. Nice.
I didn't think it was that weird. But
Well, I wouldn't have played it. But yeah.
Well, because he already has the plan that he's going to be pushing these pawns. So
Push it real good.
I didn't think he would switch to castling. But
No, this is definitely not his prep. He's thinking forever on every move, and the engine didn't really love all of his moves.
yeah.
Like, as best, so it's certainly not his prep anymore. Everybody's been out of prep for a while.
This computer still struggles a little bit. I don't see that. Are we dropping any frames? Have dropped frames?
It says 0.4% of frames have been dropped.
Okay.
Seems like a pretty low percent.
Yeah.
Much like Shody.
Could just be
It's pretty low.
this computer has to be rebooted at some point.
Yeah, that's the old chess club one, right?
Yeah.
I know because it has the "There Will Be Blood," wallpaper on it.
Oh, does it? That's funny.
Yeah, that I put on.
Yeah. The one that we tried to get to work the other day was another one of the chess club computers. I don't know why that one's not working.
All right, I remember.
Because it's just been sitting over there.
I remember.
I mean,
Don't
I've
worry.
used it a little.
Right. The engine really likes bishop b4, which seems proper. You can't even kick it. And develop your bishop. And pin.
Right, yeah, and the queen's uncomfortable there.
Yeah. Let's see. He played knight takes, making sure it wasn't as symmetrical as possible, but still pretty symmetrical. Then it wants this, and then this. Wow. Trade everything. 0.00. I think he'll do this. I don't know about that. I think he'll trade on g2. He doesn't have to, but the e4 might disrupt you, because now white's ready to play it.
Right.
Although maybe not. But maybe. Maybe not. So, I think he'll play bishop g2, yeah. Thought for almost 13 minutes on this. But yeah, pretty symmetrical stuff. I mean, what are you going to do here? Let's see how the Petrovs are doing. We're still here. We're still here. So we'll keep it here then. This is the most interesting game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Bishop b4, f4 is the engine line. Totally normal moves, yeah. Totally normal. f5 coming up. But black's not like too worried about f5 because knight e5. This would be a reason to not play knight h4 right now. Is that you'd like to meet f4, f5 with knight e5. Give me that e5 square, right? It looks pretty good. If you push your pawn right past it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, classic super GMs. Never get anything out of the opening with white. In fact, after bishop b4, it says 0.00. Yeah, I'd probably like white here, you know. Got a pretty easy plan. Got a pretty easy plan.
I thought previously the engine favored white more.
Yeah, it did.
So what petered it away?
That's not clear because, like, it has a really high evaluation here. But even if you play the main line, it starts to lower it a bit.
Yeah.
I think it just is overvaluing white's position.
Yeah, that's what okay.
But maybe queen d2 was slightly inaccurate, maybe. Not necessarily. And also f3 was a possibility, but that line was kind of just letting him play d5, and it turned out to be good for white. And then there are all those tactics there, you know, with bishop takes b5, and remember, and king b1. Like,
yeah.
I mean, f3 might be right, but this was extremely complicated and unclear. Also, there's even like h5 as a move. So maybe bishop g2. Even still, the engine likes white here, but after you play the move that it wanted, then now it says equal. So, like I said, the engine is overvaluing white a bit, but he could have probably played one or two slightly better moves there.
Earlier, yeah.
But it's almost impossible to tell because, you know, you don't know how d5's gonna... how d5 was going to work in that line. That's why bishop g2, just no d5. And that's why actually after bishop g2, you notice, making d5 unappetizing, he moves his knight away from d5. It's like, now I'm not going to play d5 because you spent the resource to defend it.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll go over here. So yeah, it's very interesting strategically and tactically. And, yeah, I'll only move 12. I mean, they're only on move 12. So the time trouble is going to affect this game almost guaranteed. No, rook f1's the move, yeah. Well, he might want to castle queenside is why. And if you castled kingside, the point of rook f1 is to meet knight h4 with bishop h1. If your king was here and then they did that, they can keep attacking your king. Like with h5 potentially. Or, well, maybe h5, g5. Maybe even like f5, but that's a little crazy. But even, you know, h5, g5, I can attack that pawn too. But he didn't want his king to be on the king side and potentially meet pawn breaks, whether right away or in the future. So he might want to go queenside for that. So that's why he didn't castle kingside. But he could have. He could have. What if black plays queen h4? Threatening two pawns? Probably defend them, right? I don't know, maybe I even have a sharper move. I could actually castle queenside threatening d7 if you move your queen away from d7. Also, if you move your queen over here, I'm definitely going that way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, queen h4, I'd castle queenside. And then later play h3 whenever I felt like it. You know. Oh, yeah, king e2. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I mean, that probably Fabi will... I mean, if he plays rook f1, he's certainly going to do this, right?
think so.
And he probably isn't going to castle kingside anymore. So castle queenside f4 f5 is, it's been telegraphed. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, I would think so.
Also, bishop here, I was just wondering about a double attack here. Right?
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that.
Engine doesn't seem to care at all.
I mean, they could
It doesn't
go back.
suggest it. Oh, yeah, always play bishop f8.
Horrible.
It probably won't, right? Yeah, I guess they'll give up the pawn somehow. Because you can't really defend both with a normal move.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, let's check it out. Bishop b4, queen d4. It goes here. So now if takes there is a little risky. So the point is that, pretend that, like here, pretend black just played bishop e7. He'd rather have the position with white's queen here so he could target the queen.
Right.
Potentially with bishop f6. So bishop g4, provokes queen
Provokes
d4.
it, yeah, I was about to say.
And then goes back. Crazy. And still, even hanging the pawn bishop f6, I wouldn't be so sure with black that that's okay. But I guess you can get counterplay here. My queen on h6 is pretty bad. Yeah, and I mean, even b4, because c2 is weak, too. c3 and c2 are really weak if my queen doesn't guard them. Crazy line. I don't really think he's going to do all that with bishop b4. He's going to think queen d4 is too annoying, like I did. And he's not going to say, oh, bishop e7 then. That's not right. Maybe, but
yeah,
pretty creative stuff. Pretty creative stuff. Oh, Nepo moved finally. Let's see what it was. Queen e4. Oh, wait. But actually, it was Naka we were waiting on. Nakamura thought for 13 minutes and played c4, just like I wanted. And we were looking at queen d6. That's like the move in the main line without rook e2. Like when they take and play c4. Maybe it's queen d7. Well, they take and play this first to attack the pawn, right? And that stops queen d6, too. Then after rook c8, you can't play queen d6 anymore. So, queen d6 is kind of like the move you'd like to play. But they would stop you. But here he didn't stop him. Also, queen d7 is fine. But the engine doesn't like queen e4 as much, which he played pretty quickly. He played it after only 43 seconds of thought. And then always play bishop f1 is good for white. But still probably very close to even, huh? But I guess he's going to go here, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
That looks pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. There, he can even play queen a1. I was wondering if there's a trickier move. Doesn't suggest rook b2. It wants to trade and play. Okay, it wants to trade and play rook b2. Fine. I mean, this is hanging, isn't it? It doesn't play that, though. It goes here. Oh, I could take it, right?
It looks like you could.
If here, this is hanging. I mean, I could take it even if it wasn't pinned. It's just hanging, for free.
Right.
So I don't even need a tactic. Oh, but I get bishop e4 because it's threatening to take this and then the d-pawn is weak. So yeah, black is not in too much trouble here. I mean, it says 0.25, and it seems like black's got a lot of ideas.
Right.
Can take this, can do that. Now it's even lowering the evaluation more. It's like listening to me. Well, if he said it's not that bad. But anyways, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this. Bishop f1 seems natural enough. And queen b1 is, of course, the point. Now, could they play rook b2 without trading rooks? Oh, we'll throw this in, apparently. That's good for us, because I guess it weakened this. Hit the queen, so he didn't have time for that. And now, if you do this, the d-pawn's just hanging. I'll play knight takes d4. Yeah, that's good for black. Shouldn't lose that pawn, really. So that's why it trades on e8 first, and then plays rook b2 and so on.
Oh,
Now the
okay.
queen stays on the pawn.
All right.
But still, we can, like, undermine the pawn in this way. And also this is hanging. So this all could happen. I mean, they could figure that stuff out. Especially Hikaru. It's his turn. So it'll be up to him to figure it out now. But Nepo probably was calculating lines like that, thought he was fine. I agree. It doesn't seem too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, a stronger engine thinks it's good for white somehow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, Hikaru tries to make it his turn every move, pretty much. What about the other one? Whoa, they played a ton of moves here. We saw this. Trading, and then he did this. Duda is thinking a little bit now. In fact, on the rook trade, he thought for 13 minutes, or 12 and a half minutes on that one. Then he quickly did this. Then he even quickerly did that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, high-rated players, they don't like it when you have a lot of space, So if he can find any way to break it down, give me a square, Give me a square.
Square.
The square beyond
Square
compare.
to spare.
Yeah, you can't spare one square. Yeah. Yeah, that's an annoying move, right? Because now, you want it to go here.
Right.
In fact, this kind of makes it seem like b5 was wrong, because now I wish I could play b6. So b5 could have been wrong. He didn't really have to do that. g6 or knight e6 are both maybe white's a touch better there. Also, he could have just sat here and done nothing. g6 0.00. But obviously he took to play b5. And then he wanted the square for his knight. But he never got it because of that. Maybe he thinks I'll move my queen and then move here next and you can't stop me. The engine doesn't do that. It plays here. It says you have to play there. Otherwise, you're busto. Well, if I move my queen like I suggested, then that runs right into that.
Right, yeah.
But if you move your queen over this way, then it's rook c1. Or then rook knight c4 again, I guess. But okay, you'd play knight c4 first then. So, yeah, I don't know. This is something Duda was thinking was okay, I guess. I mean, he has to play knight c4 now. Maybe it is okay, but it seems like you also give him a pass pawn. Like, if that ever matters, then you're going to be sad you did that. If it doesn't matter, then you won't care, but yeah, I don't know. It was a double-edged decision, but he probably thought it was better than sitting here with less space, but I don't know. Hard to say. Because if Furusha keeps pushing it and his pawns are on dark squares, it's not exactly, positionally desirable, for white.